in demand, high paying in demand jobs in the US, the UK, Canada, irrespective of where you are across Europe. This session is for you. You are in Nigeria, you are somewhere around Africa. This is where you want to be. So if you know somebody who's been trying to get a job, you know somebody who's been struggling to land interviews, this is the best place for them to be. So send the link to them, get them on board, and let's have an amazing time together. All right. So we're going to dive in immediately, but I want to also find out where you are joining us from. So type into the chat. I'm joining you at the moment from Alberta in Canada. So type into the chat. Let's know where you are joining us from. Okay. So if you're joining us from the UK, joining us from the US, just type that into the charts and let's see where you are joining us. Fantastic. Absolutely phenomenal. So Kenneth from Dubai, Zubi from South Africa, Temitope from Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Ontario, Chidozie, US, Dotsun, Scotland, Ndidi Amaka. Phenomenal. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so today's session, like I said, would center around how to land high paying in demand jobs across the three major economies. And this would also dive into other regions as well. So, Victoria from the UK, brilliant. So, let's dive in. Okay, so let's dive into the main meat of our session today. Remember, you know somebody that should be here. You have a colleague in the office. You have a family member who's been trying to land a job after relocating. You want to get them into this session. So what I'll do today is expose you to answering three key questions. And the questions every one of us today would answer would center around where are the in-demand career path? If I want to transition today, I want to get a job, where should I focus on? So focus will be number one, area for us. Then secondly, would move into what employers are looking for. So usually you'd find people preparing themselves for the job market based on what they think and not based on what the employers want. So I'm going to demystify that for you, share some success stories, and I'll show you how to get started immediately. So if you want to start today, you want to start tomorrow, how do you get started? And finally, I have an amazing discount available for every single one of you, who stays to the end of the session. But let's get into who Tenalytics is, who we are, what do we do, and what are we all about. So for us at Tenalytics, the mission is very simple. We are the leading educational technology company focused on helping Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora to land high-paying jobs, especially within the tech ecosystem, from areas within data analytics, data science, project management, cybersecurity, data engineering, business analysis, and so on and so forth. And over the last 4 years, we've helped over 2,855 people and more to land jobs across these different career paths, most especially in the UK, in the US, and in Canada. And for myself, who would lead the session today, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I have over a decade experience in data analytics and management consulting. I'm a technology expert. I'm the founder of Tenalytics, the co-founder of Amdari. And using these two platforms, we've changed the lives of so many people who are transitioning or thinking of transitioning into other career paths. I've worked as a data science consultant across Canada, the UK, and the US. I've worked with one of the largest energy conglomerates, one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a data analyst. And I've also worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC, owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. My experience spans across five major sectors. I started from sports. I moved to financial services, educational technology. I went into the energy sector. And then when I moved to the UK, I worked in the UK. I dived into the automobile sector. All right. So three questions would answer today, like I said, and I'll be sharing my experience with you. For so many of you thinking of, you are currently doing your master's, you'll be wrapping up in a couple of months. For some of you, you're dependents. For some of you, you really just want to get that job. You've been doing those menial jobs, those physically tasking jobs, and you want to transition and pivot to a more progressive career path. We'll answer three questions today. The first is, where are the jobs? Okay, so where are the jobs? That's one question. What should I focus on? Okay, number two, what do I need to get these jobs? And again, we're not going to look at it the way you've been looking at it over the last couple of years and so on. I want you to take all the things you know, put it in a box, put it somewhere. After the end of this session, you can now take that box and open it again. All right. So, what we are used to is what we feel the employer should want based on our own perspective, but would look from the employer's perspective. What do they want from us? Okay, and you have to prepare yourself based on that in order to land the high paying jobs. And finally, would also answer the question number three, which is, how can I start today? Which is a very important question every single one of you would want to answer at the end of today's session. Okay, Dominica is saying I'm here till the end. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so let's start with question number one. And again, I would like you to write this down from number one to three, the questions you need to answer today. So as we answer those questions, you tick and you also take notes, you jot things down so you can take things away from today's session. All right. So question number one is, where are the jobs? Okay, where are the jobs? How do I know what to focus on? And there are so many people over the last, decade of me helping, mentoring people, listening to their concerns, and also showing them the mistakes that they make. I got to realize that most people focus on what everybody has to say. Their friend got a job in product management today. They also want to get a job in product management. Okay. Their friend tells them that, oh, there are no jobs in this particular area, and they listen to what the opinion of everybody. What you want to do is take a direct, educated approach, a research based approach to understanding where the jobs are. Okay. And for us at Analytics, what we do is at the end of every year, we scrape data from the major job boards across the major economies, from Glassdoor, Indeed, Civil Library, UK Visa Jobs, Workopolis, jobbank.gc.ca, and so on and so forth, ZipRecruiter. We scrape jobs data from these platforms. And then we analyze the data to see the career path with the highest frequency. So, where is the hiring happening? What roles are employers looking for and hiring for? We look at that, but we also realize that not every job that is in high demand is easy to learn or easy to get into or easy to transition into. For example, if I want to become a blockchain engineer today, it will take me roughly 18 months to 2 years to make that transition. All right. If I want to become a full stack software developer, it will take me quite a while for me to learn the skills, hone my skills, and eventually, get a job in that area. So we had to look at, these are the high in demand career path. Brilliant. Now let's filter them based on three major criteria: ease of learning, ease of transitioning, and high and rewarding salary. So what does this mean? Ease of learning means that this is a career path I can learn within the space of, say, 6 months. Okay. Within the space of 6 months, I can double down, learn the skills, work on projects, hone my skills, apply to jobs, and eventually land a job. So that was the first criterion we used to filter the high in demand career path. Secondly, we looked at ease of transitioning, which simply means how easy is it for me, who is a care worker, or for me, who is a nurse, or for somebody who works in the warehouse or who has experience in logistics but want to transition into any of these career paths. How easy would it be to learn? For me personally, my first degree was in industrial chemistry, nothing related to tech. I didn't do computer science. I did industrial chemistry in the university. Straight out of the university, I got a job as a management consultant, but I didn't want to stay there because management consulting wasn't going to get me the type of remuneration I would have loved at that time in my career. So I started to think about transitioning from management consulting to data analytics. So, how easy is it for somebody who is in a different career path to make that transition? We use that as another filter, the second criterion. And finally, high and rewarding salary. So looking at these three criteria, we came up with 8 different career paths that if you find yourself in today, you would likely get a job the fastest. It gives you the job the fastest, irrespective of where you are. And these are the 8 career paths. The business analyst career path. If you're a business analyst today, you're not going to struggle to land a job because of the high demand for these career paths across all the different economies. Agile project manager, the scrum master role, the data analyst role, data scientist, the data engineer, the cybersecurity analyst, the financial analyst, and last but not the least, the HR analyst. So we came up with these 8 career paths from a detailed analysis and research. We've been doing this since the year 2020. Okay. So now we decided that if these are the career paths that would land you a job the fastest based on demand and based on the 3 criteria we had looked at: ease of learning, ease of transitioning, and high and rewarding salary. We didn't want to stop there. We said, let's check for external validation. Is there any other reputable organization that has carried out similar study, similar research? And let's see if they are speaking the same language as us. And what we looked at was to look at the World Economic Forum. So the World Economic Forum every 2 years releases a report called the Future of Jobs Report. And I want every single one of us today, at the end of today's session, well, I have the link here on my slide. You're going to get access to my slide at the end of the session. So, but if you just Google World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report 2025, you can add PDF, at the end. So you can download the PDF version very easily. So this is a report that shows where the world of work is today and where the world of work would be in the next 5 to 10 years. The jobs that are growing in demand and the jobs that are declining in demand, and the way it is structured, just like I have the snapshot on my screen, you have the jobs that are growing at the left-hand side, and the jobs that are declining, you have them at the right-hand side. So the question is, where do I want to be? Do I want to be in a career path where there is no demand today and there's going to be a decline over the next 5 to 10 years? Or do I want to be in a career path where the jobs are, where the jobs will keep on growing no matter what happens? So we looked at the World Economic Forum, and the latest was released in February 2020, in January 2025, this year. Okay, so every 2 years from the past 8 years, 8 to 9 years, the World Economic Forum have been releasing this particular report, and they have been very accurate. And who comprises the World Economic Forum? It's a combination of the world leaders, the top industry players, your Elon Musk, your Jeff Bezos, your the presidents of the major economies, the US, the UK, Canada, and so on, your politicians, and they come together and they chart the path of where the world would go, essentially. So it's very important to listen to what they have to say because they have been damn accurate. Okay. So what I want you to do today and what I'll be showing you is the jobs that will be growing in demand, because that's where every one of us wants to be. The jobs that would grow, which is on the left-hand side. So if you want to decide to choose a career path, what should I do? Where should I focus on? Number one are the data engineering roles. So you'd see number one on the list, the big data specialist, data warehousing specialist, and the data engineers. All these 3 roles are data engineering related. So if you're a data engineer today, focused on helping to get the data from wherever the data resides, extracting that data, transforming the data, and loading the data in a central location to make it easy for anybody who wants to use that data to get access to the data. That's what you do as a data engineer. Every organization needs data today more than ever. 90% of the data we have today was generated in the last 5 years. 90%. The world has arguably been in existence for over 350,000 years. But 90% of the data that we have across the world was generated in the last 5 years. So there's never been a better time to be in a career path where data is either you are either helping to store that data, or you're helping to analyze the data, you're helping to make sense of the data, or use the data to build machine learning models, AI systems, and so on and so forth. So if you're a data engineer today, you're in a fantastic career path. If you're an AI machine learning specialist, data analyst, data scientist, clearly indicated you're in a career path that is in demand and would keep on growing in demand over the next couple of years. If you are in cybersecurity, information security analyst, these are the professionals that protect the systems, protect the network, protect the data in organizations. You are in a career path that is in high demand. If you are a business analyst, the digital information specialist, the process automation specialist, as a business analyst, you're a process automation specialist. If something takes 1 week to get done, your role as a business analyst is what type of automation do we need to deploy to ensure that this process no longer takes 1 week, but takes just a few hours? That's your role as a business analyst. You analyze the process and find ways to optimize the process. It's a career path that is in high demand and would keep on growing in demand. If you're a HR analyst, you are in business intelligence, you're a business intelligence analyst, which is also data analytics related. Business intelligence is a subset or a derivative of data analytics. Again, you have the database architects. These are data engineers, the project managers, especially the agile project managers, not the conventional project managers, not the traditional project managers, but agile project managers. Because agile project managers are the type of project managers that work on projects within the tech ecosystem. Right? You have the management and organizational analyst, and these are business analysts as well. And then you have the HR analyst. So what we've done is we realized that the World Economic Forum, and for you to get access to my slide, what you want to do is fill the attendance form. My colleagues would share the form. So we send you all the materials at the end of today's session. All right. So we looked at what the World Economic Forum showed, and it clearly aligned with the analysis we had carried out. So we looked at our analysis, the top career path that would land you a job the fastest. We looked at what the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs was also saying. And we saw that there was a huge alignment in terms of where the world is going, the jobs that are in high demand, where you should focus on in order to land a job the fastest. If you're a graphics designer today, your job is at risk. You are losing relevance, and you'd keep on losing relevance due to new technologies. AI I can literally take any picture, upload it on one of the large language models, a chat GPT, for example, different other AI models, and it will churn out my thumbnails for me. It will churn out my flyers for me. I don't need a graphics designer to do that job in 2025. So what happens in 2030? Chat GPT is at its dumbest today. It's the dumbest it's ever going to be. Whatever you see with Chat GPT today is dumb. So what happens in the next 5 years when it becomes more intelligent? If you're in accounting, you're in bookkeeping, auditing, your role is also at risk. So as an accountant, as an auditor, what do you start to do? You start to look for the career path that are growing in demand that would align with my already existing skills. So for an accountant or for an auditor, you want to look for data analytics, add data to your skills, or add data science to your already existing accounting knowledge. And you can apply to jobs as a commercial analyst, as a financial planning and analysis professional, as a financial analyst, and so on and so forth. And that's how you start to prepare for the world of work. There are no jobs, there are no jobs. A lot of people say that, but people are getting jobs every day. Tenalytics alumni are getting jobs every single day. So how are they doing it? The first step, where are the jobs? So 8 career paths, like I said, if you find yourself in any of these 8 career paths, you would not struggle to land a job. Number one, data analytics, data science, data engineering, cybersecurity, business analysis, financial analytics, HR analytics, and agile project management, or the Scrum Master role. So I want you to type into the chat. Okay. So these are 8 career paths. Which of these 8 career paths are you interested in? Type into the chat and let's see what your thoughts are. Out of these 8, you can have more than one. Okay. So maybe data analytics and business analysis, for example. So you can have more than one, but type into the chat. Okay. Omalara says business analysis, Jojo, data analytics, Korode, data analytics. Fantastic. Let's keep it coming. Fumilola says data analytics, HR analytics. Brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal. Financial analytics. Interesting. So that's number one. That's what you need to do. So quit listening to the opinion of what everybody has to say. Do your own research. Get the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. 92 million jobs will disappear between 2025 and 2030. All right. What are those jobs that will disappear? I listed some of them for you. The accounting, the auditing role as you know it today would no longer exist. The data entry roles would no longer exist. The software testing roles would no longer exist because I don't need a software tester. When ChatGPT can look at my codes, run the code and tell me, debug, and tell me every single thing I need to do. So these roles would no longer exist. 92 million jobs would disappear due to the emergence of AI, agentic AI, new technologies, and so on and so forth. However, while 92 million jobs will disappear, 170 million new jobs will be created. 92 will disappear, 170 million new jobs will be created. So where will those jobs be created? Where is the demand today? That's where you want to be. All right. So I love the fact that you're already typing that into the chat. So write it there. Question number one, where are the jobs? Write your focus where you want to be. Write it down somewhere. Question number one has been answered. And as we move on down the slide, it starts to get clearer on. If you've selected 2, for example, you start to select 1 and you know exactly what to focus on. So that's number 1. Secondly, the next question is, what do I need to get these jobs? So let's take, for example, I've selected business analysis, or I've selected data engineering, or I've selected cybersecurity. What do I need? And again, remember, the focus is not on what we think. The focus is on the perspective of the employer. What do employers want from me? Because if I prepare for those things, my chances of landing that job would skyrocket. All right. Employers want only 2 things from you, only 2 things and nothing more. Number one, your skills. Okay. Your technical skills and your employability skills. And I'm going to break them down one after the other. Your technical skills and number 2, your employability skills. So your technical skills is what employers expect that you bring to the table. If you're a business analyst, for example, you must know how to um, analyze process maps, come up with a process map, the as is process, the to be process. You must know how to ask the right questions to get the type of answers that you want, elicitation. You must know how to use Excel, Power BI, and SQL for data analysis. These are part of the technical skills employers would expect from you. You must also know how to manage projects, especially using the Agile methodology and the Scrum framework. So how do you learn those technical skills? Then the employability skills, this is where you know how to structure your CV in the right format to get you into the room. When you get into the room, you know how to answer questions properly, competency-based questions. Tell me about yourself. Can you introduce yourself? You know the right approach to use in answering those questions. Those are your employability skills. So how do you gain these skills as well? And the most important part employers want from you is your experience. Okay, have you done it before? Where did you do it? Because this is the only way they can validate that you can do it for them. Forget about any certificate you have. Forget about any master's degree, undergraduate degree that you have. The only way employers would measure and validate that you can do the job is through your experience. If you've not done it before, then you cannot do it for us. So this is the most difficult part for people. And I'll show you how to gain experience today easily. All right. So let's get started with the skills. How do you learn the skills? And I'll give a little bit, I'll tell you a little bit about my own transition story. All right. We'll look at the technical first. How did I learn the technical? For so many people, they learn the technical the wrong way. All right. You're trying to learn on YouTube, you're trying to learn on Udemy in a 100% self-paced environment. I've done it before when I was trying to transition as well. And I have tons and tons of courses that I abandoned, I never completed. And the reason why I didn't complete them was very simple. Simple mistakes that I made, there was nobody to ask questions. Sometimes I type messages and send for me to get that problem resolved. And it takes a whole week or a week and a half, or sometimes even 2 weeks for that problem to get solved. Okay. I had known how to use Excel at that point. And when you want to type a text in an Excel formula, you'd have to use, double quotes, double inverted commas. But going into SQL, you want to write a text, you can use a single inverted comma. But I had no clue. I had no idea. And I was stuck on a problem for 2 weeks because I didn't know that rather than using a single inverted comma, I used double. And it took me 2 weeks to figure it out after asking so many questions, trying to, and it took time for me to get that solved. And this, I got frustrated eventually. For some people, they get frustrated and they abandon ship. They stop even trying to keep on learning that skill. So you don't want to be in that situation. And that's why 100% self-paced learning would be a major challenge for anybody who is starting that career path or trying to transition from a different career path. You want to learn in an environment where you can ask somebody like an advisor questions. You can ask a professional who has been doing that. So within the space of a minute or 2 minutes, you know that rather than using double quotes, use a single inverted comma, and that solves the problem for you. All right. So the way to learn the technical skill is in a self-paced environment. That's where you start from. So for us at Analytics, you have the LMS, the learning management system. You log in there, you can watch your videos at any point in time, at your own convenience, anytime, anywhere, and you get to solve real world case studies. And I'll show you and share how that happens when you learn, in the self-paced environment. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to do. The second thing is learning in a live instructor-led class. So in a live class, just like you are here today, I'm discussing with you. You have the opportunity to ask me questions, and you get real-time feedback. You want to learn in a class where you have that type of opportunity with a real human being, a real professional who has been in the industry. And this is called the blended learning approach. If what you're doing is one of this 100% self-paced, you are doing it wrong. If all you are doing is the live instructor-led class 100%, you are also doing it wrong. Because if all you have to do, the only time you learn is when you join a live class. When you're outside the live class, what happens? You're not learning. And that's a major issue. So the only way you get the best is to have a combination of the two, a blended learning approach, self-paced, and also a live class. Your live classes typically are on Saturdays, and I'll show you what it looks like very quickly. So for anybody who is in a Analytics program, for example, say you've registered, you go to the website, you're going to have access to a dashboard, which takes you to the learning management system. Okay, so your learning management system is where learning happens any day, anytime, anywhere. So I've registered for business analysis, like some of you that selected business analysis. Let me see who selected business analysis. Usanga, for example, or Toyin selected business analysis. So like Toyin, I registered for business analysis. All I need to do, I come to the the business analysis program. I click on continue learning, and it takes me to where I can watch my sessions at any time. I can watch my videos, and I can see every single thing happening from week 0 to week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on and so forth. So as a business analyst, I want to learn project initiation planning and stakeholder analysis. I can come in here, log in on a Monday evening, or on a Tuesday afternoon, on a Sunday morning, go to my modules, and I click on my videos and I start to watch. All right. At the end of every single module, you have a case study. And that's the beauty of learning in this particular manner. You have a case study where you get to solve a problem from scratch. You build your templates from scratch. Everything you do, you build from scratch. So what this gives you is the opportunity to know how to do the job on day one. You're not giving templates that are already built or created for you. You build your template yourself, and you learn from a professional who's been in the industry for decades, and you learn from them. You learn how to carry out project initiation planning and just stakeholder analysis, for example. On the LMS, there's so many things you can do. I'm going to come back and show you a little bit about that. But this is how you learn essentially in the self-paced environment. You go to business case. Under business case, how do you write a business case as a business analyst? You also have a case study, and the case study shows you clearly what you need to do when coming up with a business case. You've told the business that they need to have an automated process. And to automate the process, we need to bring in software developers, we need to bring in a UI UX designer, and they would build and automate the process for us. What's the risk? The risk involved? What's the cost benefit analysis? Okay, how do we ensure that we know the right stakeholders that are involved? What's going to be the cost to us, and so on and so forth? So you need to make a case, a business case, every single time. And the case studies are designed by professionals and their experience. So we take the experience of industry experts, we couch the experience into a case study, we take out the name of the company, we also change a little bit of the data, so you cannot tie any part of the data to an organization because of data privacy. And these are the type of projects that you work on. This is the self-paced class. Then you have your live instructor-led class. So your live class is on a different platform. And this is where you join a session with a real human being, a real professional. And let's look at one of the live classes, for example, very quickly. Let me maximize this, okay? So it's clear, we can all see. So let's say you join a live class on, okay, so let's go to one of the classes. You join a live class on SQL, for example, or a live class, a live case study on Power BI. So this is a live class. First of all, you have access to your materials. Every single thing you used on that day is available. You can come in here, download, you have access to this at any point in time. And then at the end of every live class, you have a recording. So in case you miss that class, you have access to the recording of the class. You can come back, you can see every single thing that happened in class on that day. As a business analyst, how did we solve this particular case study? What questions were asked in class? You have the opportunity to ask those questions. You also have the opportunity to come back as a reference and use this as a reference anytime to watch what happened, and you get to interact with your facilitator. Okay, this is how a live class happens. And everything is based on a real world case study. This is a case study for a company, for a food company called Pizza Pro. They currently have a particular challenge. So you read the business overview, you know what they're trying to solve, the problem they're facing at the moment, and that's the problem you tackle as a business analyst to help them solve that problem. Once you've done this, you've learned in the self-paced environment. You've also learned in class, in a live session with a real professional. That's the best way to learn the technical skills. Once you have the technical skills under your belt, you then move to your employability skills. And I dare say that the employability skills are even more important because your CV, for example, is what gets you into the room. Your LinkedIn attracts you to the biggest and the best organizations across the globe. So, what we do is we help you revamp and review your CV. So, in your classroom, for example, just to show you, for anybody in the classroom, you have access to where you upload your CV. Okay, upload your CV. So you go to the classroom, you come in here, you upload your CV. An expert, a CV writer would work on your CV, revamp the CV, and send it back to you. You give your feedback, and then we continue revamping it until you have the perfect CV that would get you keyword optimized, go past the ATS system, and get you the right type of jobs that you need to get. Same with the LinkedIn optimization. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you must create one. And I'll show you practical steps of people who have done this and how they've used this to get a job. We're going to pick one person and I'll use that person as a case study, or maybe two, and would use them as case studies. And you'd see how every single thing from the CV to the LinkedIn to how they learned in class eventually landed them jobs in data science, landed them jobs in HR data analyst, as a HR data analyst, and so on and so forth. Navigating the job market. This is where every single Thursdays you have a session where we show you where to apply, how to apply. All right. And I'll give you a very good example. Um, what we do is send you jobs. Okay, because a lot of people don't know where to apply. They don't know how to apply. And they apply on the conventional job platforms on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, on CV Library. It's not bad in itself. However, you are applying to all the jobs everybody else is applying to. So if I'm in the UK, for example, and I want to get visa sponsorship, how do I differentiate myself applying to jobs that would give me the best possible, opportunity of landing that job? So what we do every single Sunday, we scrape jobs from job boards that have a paid subscription model. We pay to those job boards and then we send the jobs to you every single Sundays. So if you come here, for example, in your classroom, you click on job offers, you'd see the jobs. The last one we posted was on the 30th, last week, Sunday. And for those in the UK, for example, you'd see the jobs that come with sponsorship. If you're in the US, you'd see jobs that we post to you. If you're in Canada, we post jobs to you as well. Week in, week out, we post these jobs, and this gives you access to jobs that not everybody else would have access to. So the chances of you landing the job becomes a lot higher. So these are paid platforms where we get the jobs from. A lot of people would not want to pay to and subscribe to a job board. So we pay for those subscriptions and we send the jobs to you every single week. We vet the jobs and know that these are the type of jobs that you can get and we send them to you. Then you have your interview prep session. So when you have an interview, because you have the right CV, you have the right LinkedIn, you've applied to the right type of job, you know where to apply, you've applied. When you have an interview, what happens? All you have to do, you go back to your learning management system, you go to your dashboard, and you simply go to where you have interview preparation. Once you click on schedule appointments, you enter your details, your name, you select the program you've joined. Say you're in cybersecurity, for example. You post the link to the job you've applied to, details of the job, the interview stage. Is it just a HR conversation? Is it a first level, second level? You select all of this and eventually you upload the CV that you used to apply. Somebody will join a call, work with you one on one, carry out a mock interview session based on the requirements of that job. And that's how you get prepared for an interview. I can't overemphasize how important this is because a lot of people cannot answer questions as simple as tell me about yourself. Can I get to know you? Okay. And when you hear people say that, oh, you don't have Canadian work experience, What does that mean? Does it really mean that you must work with a Canadian company or a company in Canada? Not necessarily. But the way you present yourself during interviews, you must show that you have the right countenance. You know how to start interviews with small talk. You are likable, because likability is what gets you the job. And this is what we teach you and prepare you during your interview prep. Tell me about yourself. There's an approach to answering this question, and that's called the SEAT approach. SEAT. You don't just start. And I've seen people where I've asked them during interview prep sessions, "Oh, can I get to know you? Tell me about yourself." And they start saying so many, all sorts of things. My name is Adeza. I'm the first son of my family. I'm from Kogi State in Nigeria, and so on. Irrelevancies. So, how do you answer this question? You start with your skills. You talk about your skills, you talk about your experience, you talk about your achievements, and then T is for your traits or type of person. Who are you, or what type of traits do you have? Are you a team player? Are you friendly? Are you a problem solver? What are your core values? And you want to align your core values to the core values of the organization you're applying to. So from your skills to experience to your achievements and your traits or type of person, how do you answer competency-based questions? When you get a question like, tell me about a time you worked on a process optimization project. How did you handle or deal with a difficult stakeholder? How do you answer questions like that? And that's why the interview prep is absolutely important for anybody. Then when you have an offer, every organization would request for a reference. We provide you with a reference, and I'll show you what the reference looks like. Practically, how do you request for a reference? How do you get the reference? Or what even gives you the opportunity to request for a reference? Then on the job support. You've gotten the job, you have a few questions on the job, you're not sure what to do. There is somebody that can work with you so you have a soft landing. You're working on a project that's a bit more difficult than you expected. There is somebody to work with you on that. You have your weekly mentorship sessions, and finally, Upwork optimization. So, for the weekly mentorship, this is where you have the opportunity to interact with professionals who have done it before. Okay. So, in a typical mentorship session, for example, the last mentorship session was where we had LinkedIn optimization. I handled this particular session. And I'll tell you what we discussed during the LinkedIn optimization. So, we have a lot of people who are care workers. All right. So, they've moved to the UK, for example, they've moved to Canada, and then they started doing the care job because, of course, it's easier to get that, to get those type of jobs, at least to, take care of your bills and so on. But now they want to transition. So how do I tailor my LinkedIn to a care working role, for example? How do I optimize my LinkedIn profile? So I had a session this past Thursday, and that was the conversation around our LinkedIn optimization. Now, if you miss this session, all you have to do is come in here, click on the link, and you have access to that mentorship. You have access to the mentorship session. So that's me right there. Every Thursdays, we have our LinkedIn optimization, and they're practical sessions showing you exactly what you should do, how to tailor, how to structure your LinkedIn, and how to also show that even though I'm a care worker, there are some transferable skills, and there are ways you can represent your skills to even get advantage over somebody who doesn't have a job at that point in time. And that was our conversation during our LinkedIn optimization session. How do you use a tool like Job Analytics to help you get a job? So these were the things we discussed during our LinkedIn optimization session. So every Thursdays, you have your mentorship. Before that, we talked about the SEAT and the STAR approach. The SEAT approach, how you introduce yourself during interviews. The STAR approach, how you answer competency-based questions. And another session we had on navigating the job market. This was where we brought Tofumi. Tofumi is a HR expert, and Tofumi came into this session to help professionals who are looking to transition. So Tofumi, for example, she's worked and gotten talents for Fortune 500 companies across different economies, from the UK to the US and so on to Canada. And we brought in Tofumi as an expert to also get to share experience, you get to ask questions, and you get you hold she holds your hand to ensuring that you are able to land that job. And that's what the mentorship session is all about, essentially. Week in, week out, interview simulation sessions, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to show you again, like I said, practically the job reference. How do I move from knowing the right things to do on my CV to my LinkedIn, knowing how to apply, where to apply, knowing what to say during the interviews when they come up, and eventually getting a reference. Because if you get an offer, say with NatWest in the UK, or you get an offer with JP Morgan or Scotiabank, and they ask you to provide a reference that shows that you have done this job before, you've worked as a business analyst, you've worked as a data analyst, how do you provide that? All right. So that's why it's important for you to have access to the way you learn your technical skills and also the employability skills. That's one thing you must have in the bag before you start to show experience. Okay. So I'll touch on some of the things I mentioned using a practical example of somebody who landed a job and how she started step by step using all those principles to land in the job. So once you have the skills, the technical skills, the employability skills, the next thing is what? Experience. This is the most important part. How do you gain experience? How do you gain experience? All right. The way you gain experience is in two ways. You don't need to go to the office, and it's a catch 22 situation, the chicken and the egg situation. Organizations would say come with 2 to 3 years experience. But for you to get the experience, you need a job. So, how do you get the experience you need to apply to that job? Number one is you must have a portfolio. You must have a portfolio. And I'll show you what a portfolio looks like and why it's important for you to have a portfolio. The second part is you must participate in an internship. Internships would give you the opportunity to do what? Work in a cross-functional team. A data analyst would work with a data engineer and a data scientist and a HR analyst. Because in the real world of work, you don't work in silos. You work in cross-functional teams. All right. So how do you gain internship? For free. How do you also build a portfolio? Why is a portfolio important? Before I tell you why a portfolio is important, let's paint a very quick scenario. All right. So let's assume you want to sew a wedding dress or you want to sew a suit. You have two tailors you are considering, tailor A and tailor B. You go into tailor A's store or shop and you see that tailor A at the back of the shop has a certificate that shows that they've gone for tailoring school, they've done tailoring training, they know how to sew dresses, and that's all you can see in the shop. You go to Tailor B's shop, and Tailor B has mannequins. The mannequins have dresses on them. You can see the different styles of the dresses on the mannequins. You can see the different styles of suits. You can see the materials. You can touch and feel and see the quality of the type of dresses and suits Tailor B has sewn. Which of these two tailors would you allow to sew your dress or your suit? Tailor A with the certificate of tailoring school, or tailor B with the samples and evidence that they've sewn things like that before? Just type into the chat, tailor B. CG Cole says tailor B. Maruf says tailor B. Cynthia says BBB. It's a no-brainer. Everybody would go with B because you want to be sure that I'm giving this to the right person. Okay. Have they done it before? If they haven't done it before, then I'm not sure you can do it for me. That's the same way you must have a store, a showroom, and your store and your showroom must have evidence that you've done business analysis work, that you've done cybersecurity work, that you've done data analytics work. If you don't have that, employers would find it difficult to hire you. All right. So we must position ourselves as tailor B. And that's the essence of having a portfolio. In your own situation, you're not a tailor, your own store or showroom is your portfolio. All right. So I'll show you what a portfolio looks like. And practically, I'll show you how somebody like Victor, for example, how Victor used the projects and the case studies he solved in class as proof of his experience. All right. So Victor is a data scientist. Victoria is a data analyst. Lemuel is a business analyst, and Nwachuku is a data engineer. All right. So you have access to the links. I've left the links for you to click and access their portfolios. You'd have that when you get my slide at the end of today's session. Just make sure you fill the attendance so you get all the materials I'll be sharing at the end of the session today. Okay. So let's start with Victor. And if we have enough time, I'll show you maybe more than one. We look at Victor, we look at Victoria. So I'm going to click on Victor. It takes me to Victor's portfolio. Okay. So this is where Victor is showing you what he has done, the dresses he has sewn, the suits he has sewn. You can come in here. This is an introduction of Victor, his core competencies, how you can connect with him. And you can see some of the projects that he has worked on, some of them, the pinned ones. One of the projects I want to highlight today is the loan default prediction project. Loan default prediction. Let me maximize this a bit. So what Victor did here was he worked for a company. The company they give out loans to different customers, and they've had non-performing loans. People are not paying back the money they have collected from that company. So they want to have the ability to tell or predict who are the customers that are likely going to default and who are the customers that are likely going to pay back. So what Victor did here was to use Python to build a machine learning model to predict customers that are likely going to default. So that rather than thinking and taking a decision based on what we think, the model is predicting for us based on the location of the employee of that particular client. Where do they reside? What's their income level? What's their credit score? Are they male or female? What's their age group? And based on all these different factors or attributes, the model is able to tell if a customer would return back the money they have borrowed or if they would default on that particular loan. So I want you to take a note of this, and I'll show you where Victor got this project to add to his experience and how you would also have that opportunity to have experience like this. So I'm going to go to Victor's class. Victor was in a data science class, and the machine learning class, the first machine learning class that Victor participated in, let's go to the case study. Like I said, your classes are case study based. You are not learning by just solving problems and all of that. You are learning by working on real world problems. So this was a case study for a real company. The company had non-performing loan issues. We changed the name of the company, obviously, and we also changed the data so you cannot trace that to any specific organization. So this is the project they completed in class. It's a company called Loanalytics Incorporated, and it's a loan default prediction case study. You have the background of the problem statement, the rationale, the objectives. What are you going to be solving really on this project? So Loanalytics is currently facing the challenge of managing the rising risk of loan defaults. Okay. And the company is growing. They are expanding in the lending industry, and also people are defaulting. So traditional evaluation systems are no longer working. You could have a good credit score or a good income, but you are not paying back the money you borrowed. Okay, so this project aims to build an advanced prediction model, taking multiple data points, multiple attributes to predict if a borrower would default or they would pay back their loans. And I'll show you what the live class looks like. So that's the case study. In the live class, you had you have your facilitator, a professional, working with you to solve this particular problem. Okay, to solve this particular problem, how we start what approach do we take? Okay, so from step 1 to step 6, how do we solve this problem? So you're interacting with a professional. You can stop to ask questions. Oh, this thing you've done, why is it done this way? Can you show me if it's done this way? You interact together with your facilitator, and that's how you solve that problem. Okay, so this was what was done in class, interacting with the facilitator, and at the end of the day, you build that model. So this is one of the participants, Victoria, for example, asking a question. I just muted so that we don't have distractions. Once you've done this, you've completed this project, which Victor did, and he completed the project. You go to your portfolio, your shop, like that tailor, and you upload that to the portfolio. So if I click on this, it takes me to Victor's project. And as a potential employer, I can see what Victor has done, the model that he built, leveraging advanced machine learning to predict loan defaults. I can look at the introduction, the problem statements, the aim of the project, and more importantly, I can see the codes that Victor has written. So I can click on that. It takes me to the codes. I go to Victor's Jupyter notebook, his Python notebook, and I can see clearly every single step Victor took. Just like that person walking into the tailor store, you can see the stitches, the quality of the seams on the dress, and you can tell that this is a good tailor. The same way employers would be able to tell you're a good business analyst, you're a good data engineer, you're a good data scientist by looking at how you have completed that particular work. How did you clean your data? You can see that here. You can see how Victor carried out his exploratory data analysis, EDA, the univariate analysis, the bivariate analysis, and so on and so forth. This is how you build experience. All the projects you solve in class, they become part of your experience. All the projects you solve during your internship becomes part of your work experience. That's how you show experience. And when you're doing this, you're not doing this as a learner, you're not doing it as a trainee. When you join 10 Analytics, you join as a contractor or a consultant. Your work experience is going to have 10 Analytics as part of your work experience. So when they request for reference, you get a reference from us. And I'll show you that, like I said, I was going to show you earlier. So if you click on Victoria's portfolio, the same thing. Victoria is a data analyst. You'd see Victoria's portfolio. You'd see what she's built. This is Victoria Uchemadu. You'd see where she worked on a project in the healthcare sector, helping the NHS. Of course, for anybody in the UK, you know that it takes a long time to get to see the doctors when you want to get to see the doctor, especially in the emergency room. So what Victoria did here, worked on a project in class together with your facilitator to reduce the patient wait time and increase the patient's rating, okay, in the emergency room. And if I click on this, it takes me to the reports that Victoria worked on using Tableau. And anybody can come here. They can interact with it. They can see what Victoria has built. If I want to see the data for Q1, only Q1, all I need to do, I deselect everything and I select Q1. And it shows me number of patients in Q1, average age, average wait time, satisfaction score, and so on and so forth. Anybody who sees this knows that Victoria is a good data analyst that can use Tableau. And that's how employers are confident to invite you for an interview and eventually give you that job. Because just like that tailor that you all agreed that has the mannequins and the dresses. So you're confident that they can do that dress for you and you give them the dress. Employers also want to know that you can do the job before they give you the job. And there's so many other projects Victoria worked on. If you scroll down, Redux Airlines, Express Food Services, using Excel, using Tableau, Nestle Product Analytics, using Power BI, using SQL, and so on and so forth. Okay. So you'd have access to all these links. Just make sure you fill the attendance form so you get access and you can click, see the projects of all these amazing professionals and what they've been able to build. That's how you build experience. The second part is through internship. So for all 10 analytics programs, you have 6 months learning. You learn for 6 months in class with a professional showing you what to do, how to do it. You can ask questions, you can share your screen, show the errors you are getting, and get real-time feedback. And then you have 2 months internship. 6 months learning, 2 months internship. The internship is where you get the opportunity to work in a cross-functional team. As a business analyst, you're going to work with a software developer, a UI UX designer, and you'd work with different other professionals to build a real solution, a web-based AI system that helps an organization become more efficient. You would be the business analyst on that project. So 2 months internship, and your internship will be done with our sister company called Amdari. Amdari is a sister company to Tenalytics. Amdari is registered in the UK, in London, operates out of London in the UK, and also operates out of Alberta in Canada. So it doesn't matter where you are. You can use Amdari as a work experience. If you're in the UK, if you're in Canada, you're in the US, and so on and so forth. Or you can even use both Tenalytics and Amdari as part of your work experience. And what does this do for you? It shows employers that you are currently on that job. And if you're on the job, it means that you can actually do the job. And I'm going to show you the person I'll be highlighting for you today. Her name is Amaka. Amaka joined us sometime in 2024, and she got a job in January this year. So I'm going to show you Amaka's LinkedIn. And I want you to take note of something on Amaka's LinkedIn, Amaka Inaji. Amaka joined us in July 2024. She completed her program in January this year. And in January, she got a job with Sask Energy in Saskatchewan in Canada as a HR data analyst. So she's just 4 months into the job, quite recent. But what do you notice? Before Amaka could land this job, two things happened. First, the employer could see that she was a HR analyst with Tenalytics. Secondly, they reached out for a reference. Okay, Tenalytics provide a reference that shows that Amaka can do the things you say she can do. Amaka can use Excel. She can use Power BI. She can come up with HR metrics and KPIs and so on and so forth. Because Amaka has completed our program, 6 months learning, 2 months internship, we wrote a reference for Amaka, completed the reference, and today Amaka is on this job as a HR data analyst. All right. So that's how you start to open yourself to opportunities to land the job. And you're going to hear from Amaka yourself. You'd hear how Amaka was able to transition, what she did right, and how she was able to get that job. So once you've gotten your skills and you can showcase that you have the experience, then the job is just at your fingertip. And I talked about the mentorship session already and the jobs that we send to you from paid platforms. So if you're only applying to jobs on traditional platforms like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, CV Library, Workopolis, and so on and so forth, you'd have access to the jobs everybody else all over the world or in that same region has access to. And you're not going to get a job fast if you do it that way. So what we do is we pay to platforms that get jobs that are not just all over the place. We get these jobs, we vet the jobs to be sure that these are jobs you can easily land. We send those jobs to you every single week. You apply to those jobs, and that gets you into the type of jobs you want to get. One of them is the UK visa jobs. Okay, so I'll just show you that very quickly. UK visa jobs is one of them. The reason why a Analytics alumni gets sponsorship very, very fast is because we subscribe to this particular website, one of them. This is one out of so many. And this is a platform you pay to have access. And they only give you and show you jobs that come with visa sponsorship. So rather than you applying on all other platforms that are free and everybody else applies to, you have the opportunity to apply to jobs only a few people would have access to. And that's what gives you the opportunity to land sponsorship jobs left and right easily without breaking a sweat. So let's look at Amaka's story. I told you I was going to highlight Amaka for you. Amaka was out of work for over 6 months. So she was in Canada. For 6 months, she couldn't land interviews. She was also out of work. And then she joined our HR analytics program sometime in July 2024. She completed her program in around December, January. She got multiple interviews, and eventually she secured that job as a HR data analyst with Sask Energy in Saskatchewan. Sask Energy is one of the largest gas supplier to customers, over 400,000 customers in Saskatchewan and across Canada as well. So Amaka currently works for them as a HR data analyst. Before Amaka joined, she had no experience using any technology tool, not even Excel. She learned everything in class. She never even had the confidence to apply to these type of jobs until she joined Tenalytics. So I'm going to play Amaka's video. You're going to listen to Amaka and hear from Amaka yourself. And this was the message Amaka sent. She sent this to Priscilla. Priscilla is the class coordinator for the HR analytics program at Tenalytics. So Amaka sent this message. Hello, Priscilla. Happy New Year. I am overwhelmed with good news. I have 3 job interviews. Most importantly, I have an interview with Sask Energy for HR data analyst role. One of the jobs you posted. So remember when I told you about the jobs we post every single Sunday. So I'll show you that once again. So every Sunday, if you go to your classroom and you go to job openings, all right, you click on that, you see the jobs we post every single Sunday. So this is for business analysis. You see the jobs, the ones that come with sponsorship, you'd see them right there. So every Sundays we post these jobs. So Amaka was simply saying that I applied to one of the jobs you posted and I have the interview. I need help preparing for this interview as I really want this particular job. So she sent this to us sometime around November, December 2024. And this was in January when she got the job. She sent a message to Priscilla, I got the job. Okay. So from the jobs we applied, she applied to one of them. We prepared her for our interviews, multiple interviews, and the job she really wanted to get with Sask Energy, she got that job. So let's listen to Amaka very quickly, and then I'll share some more success stories. And finally, I'll show you how do you get started. As a business analyst, what skills do you need to learn? Like Amaka, who joined HR analytics, what skills do you learn in HR analytics? Okay, but let's listen to Amaka first of all, and then we'll come back and I'll walk you through that. We'll take questions and then we call it a day.
Hello, everyone.
Uh,
And I would like.
sorry, I'm just going to, it's about 2 minutes. So I want you to listen and I want to be sure you can hear Amaka loud and clear. Fantastic. So listen, enjoy Amaka's story, and learn how Amaka was able to transition.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amaka Naji, and I would like to share with you how Analytics gave me the confidence to apply for a high paying job. So, last year, 2024, I came across Analytics advert on Instagram. At first, I was skeptical. I was like, things we see on Instagram. But I just said, okay, I had always wanted to upskill, like learn something else as an HR professional, and the analytical aspect has been on my mind. So like, okay, before I pay, let me join the WhatsApp group and hear what they have to say. So I joined the WhatsApp group and I was like, okay, this is something I want to do. This is something I want to put my money in here. And I paid for the class. Just the first class alone, thank God I did this. And as the class progressed, I was really happy. I removed all doubts. So last year, December, I saw a job posting. And if I had seen that job posting before I started this class, I don't think I would have had the courage or the confidence to apply for the role. But I did because of all what I've learned from Analytics. So I applied for the role. Some weeks later, I was called for an interview. I reached out to my facilitator. I told her I have an interview. Like, please, what do I need to do? And she was like, don't worry, we got you. And they really did, because they prepared me for an interview. They went out of their way. Like, I was sent a 12-page document on what to do. We had a Zoom meeting. They took this interview like a major project. They really went out of their way, prepared with me, tutored me and all of that. And I went for the interview and I got the job. So I want to tell you that if you're still skeptical, if you're still thinking you might not gain anything, trust me, you have a lot to gain. And take it as a gift to yourself this 2025. Like, I want to do something for my career, and I want you to pay for this class. I want you to go for this class, and you will be thankful. Your career would thank you for for doing this thing. So guys, thank you.
Okay, so that's Amaka. Just like so many other fantastic professionals, Amaka was able to transition. She would have one of the things you get when you join our mentorship session is all that self-doubt. All the self-doubts, all the am I good enough to get this job? Do I know enough to get this job? It goes out of the window because we show you exactly what to do and we give you the confidence to apply. So this is Amaka, who was out of work for over 6 months, and today Amaka is on a HR data analyst role with Sask Energy. You have somebody like Pavel. Pavel also started this job last month. He joined our data analytics program, completed his program, joined us in August last year, completed his program around December, and eventually he landed a job with the Arizona Community Physicians in Tucson, Arizona, in the US. You have Hope, and I'll talk a little bit about Hope's story. Hope was your conventional um, African who has certifications. We always believe certifications will get us the job, but it doesn't. At Analytics, we call that, we have a phrase that we call competence over credentials. Competence over credentials. Okay. What gets you the job is your competence every day and every time. Your skills and your experience, that's your competence. The skills that you can do the job and the experience that you've done the job before, so you can do it for me. So forget about, that's why I said at the beginning, all the conventional ideas you have that your credentials, your certificates, and all of that would get you the job. Hope had the PMP certification as a project manager. She had the Scrum Master certification as well, but she was in Canada. She couldn't even get interviews. Hope joined our Agile Project Management program in September. And one of the first things we did with Hope was to shift her mindset from the fact that don't bring forward your certificates all the time. What you need to bring forward is showcasing that you can do the job. You've done it before. So build a portfolio. We worked with her, prepared her for her interviews, and Hope was able to land a job as a project analyst with a company in Waterloo, Ontario by December. She joined in September, less than 3 months. About 3 months into her program, she landed this job. You have Oluwadamilare, no experience in tech, no background. Today, Oluwadamilare is a sustainability data analyst with a company in Leeds in the UK. You have Oyefikayo. Oyefikayo has a background in finance and accounting. She also moved to Canada, couldn't land a job, came into our full stack data science program, and today Oyefikayo got a job as a business solutions analyst a month before she completed her program, and so many other professionals. Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom. Ikmat today is a data analyst with the NHS in the UK on full visa sponsorship. You can listen to these professionals. I have the links here on my slide. Again, make sure you fill the attendance form so you have access to this slide. You can click on the links and you have access to the materials. Ramat was a customer service professional. She joined our business analysis program, and today she's a business architect with the NHS as well, also on full visa sponsorship. So she got a COS, a certificate of sponsorship. She applied, she got her tier two skilled worker visa, and today she's on sponsorship on her way to ILR, indefinite leave to remain, and eventually British citizenship. Same with Toyin. Toyin has a background in pharmacy. Back in Nigeria, she moved to the UK, joined data analytics with us, and today she got a job as a benefits analyst with the NHS in the UK, and so many other professionals. This is Mary. Mary got her sponsorship last month in March. Mary had no experience. She was always working shifts from warehouse to retail in the UK. Then she joined our business analysis program in November last year. And by March this year, last month, she got a job with NatWest, the NatWest Group in the UK, as a business data analyst, also on full visa sponsorship. And she sent the notification to us when she got that job. All right. And if you look at this, she's going to be on the skilled worker visa until the 13th of March, 2030. So from 2025 to 2030, 5 years, she would move from the skilled worker visa to indefinite leave to remain, from indefinite leave to remain to what? Citizenship. And that's how it all starts. Lois, from an accountant to a project manager. Ungozi, from a customer service professional to a business analyst. We've seen Olua Damilare. And just to also highlight one more time, if we go to Damilare's profile, Olua Damilare, just like Amaka, you'd see that his previous experience was Tenalytics. And that's how you position yourself. The organizations would request for a reference, we provide a reference for you, and that's how you land the job. So he got this job last year, April, with BAM in Leeds, and he works as a sustainability data analyst. You have Adetayo. Adetayo joined our cybersecurity program today. He's a cybersecurity analyst and so many other professionals. All right. I'm going to show you where you can get access to all the testimonials if you want to watch all of them. But before we start to wind down our session today, I'll show you the skills that you must have. Now, we've talked about the technical, we've talked about the employability skills. We've also talked about how you can gain experience and how somebody like Amaka was able to do all of that. Okay, she was skeptical. Oh, I don't know how this would be. She joined a session like this. After the session, she registered, joined HR Analytics, completed. She had interviews, applying to the jobs we had sent to her. We prepared her for the interviews. We wrote a reference for her to get that job. And eventually, she's on the role as a HR data analyst. But what did Amaka learn in class? And I'm going to show you this because it's important. A lot of people don't know, and they start learning the wrong things first when they should learn in a particular order. So I'm going to start with business analysis. As a business analyst, apart from the fact that your salary is fantastic, high and rewarding salary in the US, about $85,000 per annum. In Canada, over 74,000, and this is the average. Okay, usually it's more than that. In the UK, about £52,000 per annum. One of the first things you need to learn as a business analyst would be your data skills. You must have data skills as a business analyst. So you learn Excel, you learn SQL, you learn Power BI. That's the only way Mary was able to get this job. I just want to highlight this because it's very important. As a business data analyst, emphasis on the data. There are so many people I've interacted with, I've mentored, and I find out that they are business analysts, but they don't know how to use Excel, Power BI, and SQL. If you are that type of business analyst, you can't get a job as a business data analyst. All right. Then you need to learn process mapping using tools like Lucid Charts, Draw.io. You're going to learn project initiation planning using project initiation planning, Agile and Scrum for projects. And these are your project management skills. You're going to use Jira to track project deliverables. You'd learn how to use Confluence for collaboration, Trello, Azure DevOps, and so on and so forth. You'd learn the software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and ChatGPT for business analysis. All our programs, you'd find out that there is an AI element to them because that's where the world is today and that's where the world is going. So, as a business analyst, how do you complement your skills with AI skills? So, you learn how to use ChatGPT as a business analyst. All right. And again, the classes are structured in a way that it doesn't matter where you are. You are in the UK, there's a class that fits your time zone. You're in Nigeria, there's a class that fits your time zone. You are in the US, Canada, there's a class that fits your time zone. So your classes, your live classes where you have a professional like myself, happens every Saturdays. Okay, happens on Saturdays. So Saturdays, if I'm in the UK, I'm in Africa, somewhere around Europe, similar time zones, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. your time is when your class would hold, 3 hours on Saturday. If you're in the US, you are in Canada, your class would be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So Mountain Time is Alberta time. So if you're in Ontario, for example, 10 a.m. would be 12 noon, your time. If you are in the Eastern time zone in the US, 10 a.m. will be 12 noon. So there's a class that fits your time zone. All right. So for those in the UK, for example, if you can't join this class that starts at 11 to 2 in the morning, you can join the guys in the US, join the guys in Canada, which would be roughly around 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. your time. So you have that flexibility to decide and control when you start, when you join a class or not. So if you are free in the morning, you join 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're not free in the morning, but you're free in the evening, you join 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's simply because the trainer is the same, your curriculum is the same, and you are learning, the same set of skills, techniques, and so on. Every other day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, at your own convenience, you log into the LMS, the learning management system, you watch your videos and you practice. All right. Again, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. That's what it takes for you to become a business analyst. And just like Hope, who got a job as an agile project manager, a project analyst with Visman in Waterloo, Ontario. What did Hope learn? She learned introduction to project management skills and communication, the Agile framework, foundations of Agile and Scrum, learning the Scrum framework, the Scrum artifacts, increments, backlogs, sprints, the Agile Scrum and Agile practices, end-to-end use of Jira and Confluence, the Kanban boards for workflow management. So Agile in itself has multiple frameworks. You're going to learn Kanban, you're going to learn Scrum, you're going to learn Lean as part of the frameworks. You would learn the Agile metrics and reporting, velocity, burn up, burn down charts, leadership and reward application, Nexus Skill Scrum, applying Scrum across multiple teams, in an enterprise. And then we prepare you for the professional Scrum Master examination. And that's how you can easily land a job. I can see so many questions coming in. I'll take all your questions. Don't worry. We're getting to the end of the session and I'll take all the questions that you have. Okay. Um, somebody is asking, Lemma is asking, for somebody in Africa, for example, I'm in Cameroon, can I get a job? I'll show you those that are in Nigeria, Ibadan, Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria, across multiple locations, and they're working remotely for companies in the US. All right. You have, as an agile project manager, you can earn six figures in the US, about almost six figures, over 97,000 in Canada, and about 53,000 pounds in the UK. The timing is similar. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're in the UK, Nigeria, similar time zones, Europe, similar time zones, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. If you're in the US, you're in Canada, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So there's a class, there's a time for your class. You don't have to join classes at odd hours. Every other day, you get to join the LMS, watch your videos, practice, and solve your case studies. All right. 6 months learning, 2 months internship. Then you have the data engineer. The data engineers are the professionals that ensure that data is available. For the business analyst to work with data, the data engineers would make that data available. For the data analyst, the data scientists to do their jobs, the data engineer makes sure that the data is available. All right. So you're going to learn introduction to data engineering. You'd learn SQL, structured query language, which you'd use for your data warehousing, building the data infrastructure. You'd learn Python for programming. Right? Python is what you'd use to build your ETL pipelines, your extract, transform, and load pipelines. All right? You're going to learn Python. You'd learn Linux for your bash scripting. You'd learn how to get data from different sources, databases, APIs, scrape data from the web. You'd learn how to automate the data process, the data pipeline using tools like Spark and Airflow for your data orchestration, data automation. And then you'd also get to learn cloud engineering using GCP and Azure. GCP is Google Cloud Platform and Microsoft Azure. Then you'd learn version control with GitHub and GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT for data engineering. Again, there is always an AI element because AI is here to stay. The faster you learn how to complement the skills you have with AI, the better for you in landing jobs. How do I use GitHub Copilot, for example? How do I use ChatGPT as a data engineer to even become more efficient at the job that I do? And these are the things you're also going to learn during your program. Again, the timing similar to the first two I've explained, and then 6 months learning in class, 2 months internship. For the data analyst, what do I need to learn? Where do I start from? As a data analyst, you start from problem solving. You don't start from Excel. You don't start from Power BI. You don't start from Tableau. You start from problem solving. What frameworks do I need to deploy in problem solving? How do I get to the roots of a problem using techniques like the 5 whys? How do I break problems into multiple parts using techniques like the McKinsey-Mason model? How do I prioritize the problems to solve first using the prioritization matrix? What type of framework do I use or deploy as a data analyst? Frameworks like the KDD framework or the CRISP DM framework. Okay, so these are the things you must know. If you don't know the problem you want to solve, you don't know if you should even use Excel or Power BI or SQL. If you don't know if you have the data you need to solve that problem, you don't know the type of data you need to gather or if the data is available. So you start with problem solving. From problem solving, you then dive into Excel. But a lot of people don't know this. They ignore problem solving and they dive into the tools. That's doing it the wrong way. You're not going to get the foundation, the foundational knowledge, the background to thrive in that career path. Then you learn SQL, structured query language. This is a common denominator across all data related roles. You're going to find SQL. Structured query language, that's the language that enables you interact with a database. So when the data engineers extract data from wherever the data is generated. So let's take Amazon. You shop on Amazon and you leave a review of that product you bought on Amazon. Amazon wants to carry out a sentiment analysis. They want to know for a particular product, are customers happy? What are they saying about the product? And so on and so forth. They're going to scrape that data from Amazon. Who does the scraping? Who gets that data? The data engineers. The data engineers get the data and they put that data in a central location called the data warehouse. For any professional to access this data warehouse, to get the data to analyze and know if customers are happy, what are they saying about that particular product, you must understand the language of data warehouses and databases, which is structured query language. So you're going to use structured query language to extract your data from that database, interact with the database, and you can then move the data into a tool like Power BI. So you use SQL, extract the data, take it into Power BI, and then you do your analysis. Okay, so for any data related role, SQL is very important because that's how you interact with the data warehouse or the database, as the case might be. All right, so you'd also get to learn how to use Tableau, which is also for data visualization, very similar to Power BI. However, Power BI is more popular in the industry. So knowing the two gives you an advantage. If you find a company that has a preference for Tableau, good, you have Tableau. If you have a company that has a preference for Power BI, you have Power BI. You learn data storytelling, Chat GPT for analytics, Microsoft Fabric as a data analyst. And your salaries are also fantastic per annum in the US, about 86,000 per annum, $86,000 in Canada, over 70,000 Canadian dollars, and in the UK, about 45,000 pounds per annum. Again, the structure of the class, it doesn't matter where you are. You're in the UK, there's a class for you that fits your time zone. In the US, Canada, there's a class that fits your time zone as well. Every other day, you are in the LMS watching your Watch Me Do It videos, working on case studies, solving problems, and so on and so forth. Then you have the data scientist. A lot of people get this wrong, particularly, and I'll tell you the reason why. When anybody hears data science, the first thing that comes to their mind is what? Python. Oh, I'm going to learn Python. I'm going to code. And they feel Python is everything for the data scientist. But how do you start? If you want to learn data science and you start from Python, you're going to crash out. You'll stop it. You get frustrated and you stop learning data science because you don't have the foundation. You don't understand the background. It's like building a house and starting from the roof rather than building by starting from the foundation. The foundation of what you need to know as a data scientist starts with what? Statistics. That's where you start from. So if you remember, I mentioned at the beginning that as we move into the specific skills, you start to understand the career path I'm going to tilt to and the ones I'm going to ignore. So for some people, they would be like, okay, I ran away from statistics in high school. I ran away from it in the university. Now I'm coming to face it again. You don't have to do data science if you don't want to do statistics. You don't have to do data science if you don't want to learn Python programming. You can do data analytics, for example. You're not going to learn how to code using Python, and it's a career path you can easily thrive and get massive opportunities. All right. You'd learn how to use Excel for predictive analytics and forecasting. You'd learn Tableau. You'd also get to learn SQL. Remember, I said this is a common denominator across data roles before you even move to Python. For your exploratory data analysis, you'd use Python for your machine learning, computer vision, version control with GitHub. You're going to learn GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT, your AI for data science, and you finally you'd learn Microsoft Fabric for analytics. Six figures if you're in the US as a data scientist because of the demand for data scientists in the US, about over $120,000 per annum. In Canada, over about 95,000 Canadian dollars per annum. And in the UK, over 55,000 pounds for a data scientist on the average per annum. 6 months learning, 2 months internship. The financial analyst, you are a data analyst that focuses on financial records or financial data. So you help organizations identify areas for cost optimization. You help organizations identify and assess their profitability, the net profit margin, the return on equity, and any other profitability metrics. When there are changes, for example, the global economy is witnessing something, a major shift from the tariffs from the US by the US. So you have the tariffs in March alone. In Canada, you had over 33,000 jobs were lost. 33,000 jobs were lost in the month of March in Canada. But when you do your research to find out where were these jobs lost, you realize that they were lost in jobs that are trade related. So you'd have retail, you'd have agriculture. These were the major hits. The sectors that had the major hits of these jobs that were lost due to the tariffs and the reciprocal tariffs and so on. And you find out that as a financial analyst, these changes would impact the business. So you carry out something called scenario analysis. If this happens, what happens? If inflation goes up, what happens to our balance sheet and so on. And those are the type of analysis you get to carry out as a financial analyst. But you start from your data skills. So the same skills the data analyst would have, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL, you get to learn them as well. Then you move to the core financial areas, accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis, and AI for financial analytics using Charts GPT. Again, fantastic salary. The classes are structured, similar timeline, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. You don't, all the career path I've listed from start till this point, you don't need any experience to get started. All the people you've seen, the testimonials, the success stories, no experience. You learn everything in class, you work on projects, you build your portfolio, we help you with your CV, your LinkedIn, and all the things I mentioned. And eventually, what happens? You get an interview. We prepare you for that interview and you land an offer. The company would request for a reference, we provide a reference for you, and you get the job. All right. The HR analyst is a data analyst that focuses on HR data. So you're going to learn the data related skills as a HR analyst. This was what Amaka joined, the program Amaka joined. Amaka learned problem solving. She learned Excel, she learned Power BI, and then she learned SQL. She added this to HR analytics and performance evaluation, HR metrics and life cycle, HR analysis and dashboarding, collaboration and reports automation, building your case and creating action, and finally, Chat GPT for analytics. And these were the skills Amaka learned, and she became a HR data analyst. Amaka's salary is fantastic. And of course, in Canada, the average salary for a HR analyst is roughly 84,000 Canadian dollars. In the UK, about 48,000 pounds. And in the US, almost $80,000. And last but not the least is cybersecurity. The cybersecurity program has three major specializations. Number one is GRC, the governance, risk, and compliance. And as a GRC consultant or a GRC professional, your focus is helping the organization establish cybersecurity policies and procedures. You help the organization implement industry standards and frameworks. Okay. And I'll give a very good example. When you get into an organization, All right. Say you get hired as a data analyst. You would need access to the data warehouse, right? That's where you get your data from to analyze. The data warehouse contains sensitive data. Okay. So not everybody would have access to the data warehouse. The data warehouse must be protected because that's the single source of truth in that organization. So, as a GRC consultant, how do you protect the data in the organization? How do you protect the data warehouse in that organization? You come up with the governance framework. Governance framework. And what does this framework show? It shows the custodian of the data warehouse. Who is the custodian? Who owns the data warehouse? So ownership is defined. If a new employee, like a data analyst, comes into that company, who gives them access to this data warehouse? How do they request for access? So these are the things that you, as a GRC consultant, would define so that nobody just gets access to that data warehouse that contains sensitive data. You're also going to help to maintain thorough compliance activities, the records of compliance activities, especially if you work in the healthcare sector, for example, where data is sensitive. So you must comply to certain rules within the healthcare industry. You have the GDPR today, where you have certain regulations and standards that you must comply to as an organization. That's what you do as a GRC professional. So that's the first specialization. All right. Then you have the second specialization, which is in ethical hacking, and penetration testing. So, what do you do as a penetration tester? You try to hack into the systems of the network. You carry out vulnerability assessments to check for the vulnerabilities within the systems, the network, and the data of the organization and find where you have loopholes. So, wherever you have vulnerability, what do? You cover those gaps, come up with solutions and strategies to ensure that an external party, an intruder, cannot penetrate into your system. And that's what you do as a penetration tester. And the final specialization is the SOC analyst, the Security Operations Center analyst. So when you come into our cybersecurity program, and you do your 6 months of learning the general tools and technologies across these three areas. During your internship, you get to select one, two, or three to specialize in. And the SOC analysts, what do? They are literally the control room for cybersecurity. Okay, so what they do is to monitor. They watch out for threats. They monitor the systems, they monitor the network for suspicious activities. So let's imagine um, you bank with Starling Bank, or you bank with Revolut, or you bank with Lloyds Bank in the UK. Then all of a sudden, a SOC analyst, after when monitoring the system, sees that somebody is trying to log into your bank application somewhere in Canada. Okay, and the person is trying multiple times. So what the SOC analyst would do is first of all investigate. And then when they find out that it's a brute force attack, somebody's trying to log into your application somewhere not within the same region, they block all login attempts. So they ensure that they monitor the network, the systems for suspicious activities to ensure that threats don't occur by them stopping those threats from happening. And when the threats eventually happen, they ensure that they analyze and find out how it happened and prevent it from happening next time. And also recommend things like your multi-factor authentication, your two-factor authentication, and so on and so forth. So these are the three specializations in cybersecurity that you learn with us. You learn multiple technologies from Wireshark to Kali Linux to Metasploit, VMware, Splunk for your network analysis and monitoring. And you'd learn cybersecurity roles and technologies. You'd learn the principles of information security, risk management, threat vulnerabilities, threat detection and response, open source intelligence and gathering, and so many other different aspects of cybersecurity, governance and compliance framework, compliance audits, policy development, security awareness, and reporting. You learn all these key areas, and the salary of cybersecurity professionals are absolutely phenomenal. Six figures in the US, $105,000, $140,000 in Canada, because there's a high demand for cybersecurities in Canada. And then in the UK, you have an average of about £57,000 per annum. Again, 6 months learning, 2 months internship. So now you know where do I learn the skills, okay? Or what do I need to do in order to get started? We started from question number one, which stated, where are the jobs? Okay, question number two was, how do I get these jobs? From the perspective of the employer. We looked at your technical skills, employability skills, and the need for you to have experience. But these shows you the nitty-gritty of the specific technologies, techniques that you must have to get that job. All right. Finally, the last question, how can I start today? Okay. And that's where I'll be introducing you to our upcoming cohort that starts on the 10th of May, May 10th, 2025. Amaka joined us sometime in July. She got a job in January. Hope joined us sometime in October. She got a job by December. And so many other professionals that have gotten jobs across major from different areas, joining different cohorts. And we have a new cohort starting on the 10th of May. The cohorts for April commenced today, the 5th of April, and we have another one coming up on the 10th of May. If you want to be a part of these cohorts, joining one of the programs that I've listed, one of the 8 programs, you have the opportunity to get started today. There is a discount available for the early birds. The first 20 people that registers get 20% off. Okay, so rather than paying the full amount of $900 to get started, you only get to pay $750 for any of the 8 programs for the duration of 8 months. Covers your 6 months learning and covers your 2 months internship. So you get 20% off if you are one of the first 20 to register, one of the first 20. Okay. And you can also make payments in multiple installments. Your first payment comes in today, for example, you're one of the first 20, and you get to pay $150 for the next 5 months to cover the $750 discounted fee. And once we have the first 20 people that have registered, the fee goes back to the $900. So if you want to be a part of the first 20 to get started, this is the best time for you to start. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to get started for those of you interested in getting your journey started in May 2025. And then we'll take questions. We call it a day. So all you have to do, click on this link. It takes you to the enrollment center. Sorry, I'm going to use my other browser. So once you click on that link, it takes you to the enrollment center, and this is the enrollment center. So just click on that link, it brings you here. All right. All you have to do, if you scroll down, you want to chat with any of my colleagues, you can easily chat with any of them here. You click on that, it directs you to a WhatsApp chat. You want to get the brochures for all of the programs, you can do that by clicking on this link. It takes you to the program brochures. You scroll all the way, you have the discount for the first 20 people. Instead of $900, you get to pay $750, and you can also make payments in multiple installments. I'm interested in Agile, for example, the Agile project management. I'm interested in business analysis, or I'm interested in cybersecurity. All I have to do click on any of the links. Okay, it takes you to the enrollment center where you get to make payments, and I'll show you how you can go ahead and do that. All right, so there are 10 slots available for the business analysis. It was 20 before I joined, so I guess about 10 people that would have already subscribed by now. So what you need to do, all right, all you need to do is select the option you'd like to take. You can make a one-time payment, and if you make a one-time payment, so this is in pounds for those of you paying in pounds, all right, or if you want to pay in dollars, you can click on that, select United States dollars, and you can make your payments in dollars. So if you're making a one-time payment, you get a further discount of $50. So instead of paying $750, you get to pay just $700 if you're making a one-time payment, or if you're making a two-time payment. Okay. So if you're doing a two-time payment, for example, you don't need to pay $750. You get a further $50 discount. You pay $350 to start and $350 in the second month. Or you can go ahead, select the 3 monthly payments, 4 monthly payments, or the 5 monthly payments. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can select the currency that fits your region. Okay. If I want to pay in Canadian dollars, for example, I click on the drop down and I type in CAD. I'll see the Canadian dollar equivalent. Okay. Um, I want to pay in pounds, for example. GBP, I'll see the pounds, click on that. And all I have to do, say I'm interested in the 5 monthly payments. You get to make the discounted fee of £123 per month for 5 months. So I click on that, for example, and then I click on secure your seat. So what happens is you make your first payment today. You are one of the first 20 to start. You get started. You get your second payment in May, your third payment in June, the next payment in July, and the final payment in August. So you click on proceed. Here you enter your name, you enter your email, enter your phone number, and then you click on pay for product. So the moment you click on pay for product, you enter your card details, you select your country, your postal code, and all of that, and then you confirm payments. So once you make your first installment, what happens? You get an automated confirmation sent to the email that you provided. All right. You also get automatically redirected to a registration form. And I'll show you what that registration form looks like because it's important for you, especially for those of you interested. You're not sure of what you want to join. You're not sure if you should go for data analytics or you should go for data engineering. All right. You are still a bit confused. Once you are filling the form, all you have to do is select the option that states, I need to speak to a professional. If you select the option that says, I need to speak to a professional, we organize a clarity session for you and we walk with you, ask you a few questions, and help you decide. We don't select the programs for you, but we guide you to selecting the right program. And once you get redirected to the form, all you have to do is fill the form, click on next. I'm just going to walk you through this very quickly. What's your type of payments? Full payment, initial, first installment. Click on that. Click on next. Okay. Fill all the details. Click on next. All right. Be a part of the early bird discounts. All right. Select this. Click on next. Okay. You enter your name, first name, last name, registration, email, all of that, gender, male, female. Click on next. All right. Terms and conditions. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us on enquiries@10analytics.io, admission@10analytics.io, or reach out to any of my colleagues, Shay, Lydia, Glory, or you reach out to us on WhatsApp on any of these numbers. Click on next. When did you make payments? You select the date. I made payment today on the 5th of April. All right. Upload a screenshot of the payment. Click on next. Next. And of course, what program are you interested in? And this is where you select the program. But if you're not sure, all you need to do is select, I need to speak to a professional. Click on that and click on next. Okay. When do you want to start? So there's a cohort that would commence on the 10th of May. All right. And there's another one that would start in June on the 7th of June. So if you have commitments in May, for example, you can start, you can secure your discounts and defer to start on the 7th of June. Okay, you fill all the details, submit the form, we get all your registration details, and we organize a clarity session for you if you are not sure of the program you want to go for. But if you are sure, I want to go for data analytics, select that, and that's how you get into the program, securing the discounts available for you as well. Remember, the discount is for the first 20 people to get started. All right. So I'm going to take questions for those of you that have questions. I'll start from the chat and then I'll go to those that have their hand up. We'll take the next maybe 10, 15 minutes. We'll take questions before we call it a day. All right. Let me see. Would we get better skilled? Coursera doesn't do anything for you. Okay. I can buy a Coursera course today. I finish it next week and that's it. If I have an interview, does Coursera prepare me for my interview? Can I tell people that I work for Coursera as proof of experience? Okay, who prepares me for interview? Will Coursera prepare that for me? Will Coursera hold mentorship sessions for me? Can I stop a Coursera teacher and ask questions if I'm not clear? So these are the questions you need to ask. I've done Coursera myself back in the days when I started in 2014. It was a waste of time because I couldn't get the type of support that I needed to land a job in the industry. Today, I can go to Coursera. Today, I can go to YouTube because I have the foundation already. I have the background. Okay. So that's how you don't want to learn 100% self-paced. I think I explained that earlier. Okay. So let me see. We have more questions. Can I start in July? Um, the discount is open to those joining in May and joining in June. If you're going to start in July, you will be charged the full amount. Okay. What happens if you're currently in a job? How do you add 10 analytics? So these are the things we show you how to do during the mentorship session. For some organizations, they don't mind if you have more than one job. Your second job can be a contract role, part-time, not full-time. It could also be a freelance role as well. So we show you how to structure that based on your own unique situation at that point in time. All right. And of course, we also show you how to tailor your past experience to have achievements of the new career path you are moving into. So if you've worked as an accountant, for example, have you ever used Excel to do something? Have you ever used Power BI? We show you how to impute Excel related achievements as part of your work responsibility while working in that capacity as an accountant and so on and so forth. All right. How do I get the link for registration? So Eunice, the moment you register, okay, and you make payments, you will get redirected to complete the registration form. Now, in case you are busy at that time, you can't fill the registration form. It will also get sent to your email automatically. The email you provide, you get the link sent to that email. If you also want to just, go somewhere and click on it without going to your email, from the enrollment center, okay, all you have to do is look for where you have payment registration form. If you come right here, you click on upload your receipt, it opens up the form for you. Okay, so these are three different ways. You get automatically redirected. But I'm busy, I cannot, fill the form now. I want to fill it tomorrow, I want to fill it later. It gets sent to your email as well as part of your payment confirmation. You'd see the link to complete the registration. Okay, or you can simply just come back to the enrollment center and click on that. Okay, I hope I answered that question. Does the pay covers everything, every single thing I've spoken about today? No extra pay, no single other payments. The pay covers everything from your 6 months learning to your 2 months internship with Amdari. Let me see. Are we paying in UK? Are we in the UK paying in dollars? You don't have to pay in dollars if you're in the UK. All right. If you're in the UK, for example, you can pay in pounds. At the top right corner, you can select the currency. I can pay in Naira. I can pay in South African Rand. I can pay in Ghanaian Cedi, any currency that I want. I can pay in euros. So if you're in the UK, automatically, when you click on the link to pay, you'd see the pound appear. It shows you the currency based on your location. But just in case it doesn't, all you have to do is come to the top right corner. So once you go to the enrollment center, you select the program you're interested in, data analytics, for example. Click on that. It takes you to where you get to make payments, right? The top right corner is where you'd see the currency. Select you if you're paying in US dollars, you're paying in pounds, you'd see that there. If you want to make payments in Naira, type in Naira, you'd see the Naira appear. If you want to make payments in Rand, you're in South Africa, you type in Rand, you see the South African Rand. You want to make payments in euros, you are in Germany, you are in Poland, you type in euros, you'd see the euro, and you can make payments in any currency, essentially. All right. Let me see more questions. Are there larger projects for every single program I've highlighted today? Is there an age limit? No, you don't have an age limit. And the reason why I say this is no employer would discriminate against you because of your age. So you will not go to a job today. So if I go to UK visa jobs, I go to Workopolis, I go to LinkedIn, you would never see anywhere where they would indicate that you must be of a particular age to apply to that job. All right. So as long as you are dedicated to learning the skill, we've had somebody who was about to retire at the age of about, I think, 56 or 57 or thereabouts. And he wanted to start his own consultancy after retirement. And he wanted to, have the ability to discuss with potential clients, discuss about tech, discuss technology related, skills and so on. He joined our data analytics program. He was one of the most active and always asking questions. All right. So age is not a limitation for you to get started. Can I work remotely irrespective? Okay. So I'm going to show you a little bit of more success stories. I think there was a gentleman who asked the other time, what if I'm not in the UK? I'm somewhere in Uganda, I'm somewhere in South Africa, or I'm in Nigeria. What happens? Okay, I'll show you that in a couple of seconds. So last year, one of the things we did was to get closer to our Canadian audience. So we launched operations in Canada. We set up the business here in Canada as well. And we got into the Alberta Catalyzer program, which is a program by the Canadian government to help innovative companies deliver exceptional value to their customers. All right. So you'd see myself, that's me right there as part of the program. That's Ifemena, the co-founder of Tenalytics. And that's the both of us standing right there. So once you get access to my slide, you'd also just click on the link. It takes you to the Alberta Catalyzer website. You get to see us right there. You get to see the amazing work we are doing. Tenalytics, Ifemena Nadeza helps Africans and the Black community break into global tech careers and so on and so forth. Also, accreditation from the American Council of Training and Development. If you click on this link, it takes you to the website where you gain access to the accreditation from us at Tenalytics and so many other more success stories. Rita, who got visa sponsorship in the UK last year when you had changes by the Home Office, for different, they increased the salary threshold. And Rita took advantage. We worked with her, prepare her, and she was able to get her sponsorship. And if you read what Rita sent, thank you so much. I'm grateful to Tenalytics because the program taught me SQL, which I used to get this fixed term contract job. Thank you very much. And so many other success stories. Benem in the US, HR analytics, you got a job as a HR analyst. You have Fola got a job as a business analyst with the government of British Columbia. Abigail was a care worker in Saskatchewan. She joined our business analysis program, and today Abigail is a business analyst with the government of Alberta. All right. Abisola, who is a machine learning engineer, joined our data science program, and so many other professionals. But I want to show you somebody like Muideen worked with the BBX in the UK 2 months after completing his program with us. He lives in Nigeria, Ibadan, Nigeria, and he got a job with BBX, working from Ibadan, earning in pounds, spending in naira. Michael in the UK got a job as a data engineer. Olugbemi in Canada, before he left Nigeria, he reached out to us. I'm about leaving Nigeria to Canada. I don't want to do warehouse jobs. I don't want to do menial jobs. I advised him on what to do. He joined our data analytics program. And Olugbemi, about 4 months after getting into Canada, he landed his first job with the Law Depot in Canada as a business data analyst. He moved from that role as a business data analyst. He didn't move from the role, I beg your pardon. He kept this job and moved to another job as a solutions analyst with Wawanesa Insurance in Canada, also doing amazingly well. All right. And so many other professionals. I want to show you someone else. Sonia, HR Analytics, currently in the UK. Idris, he worked with Jaguar Land Rover in Coventry after completing our data engineering program. Chika got a job as a financial analyst, also in the UK, after completing financial analytics with us. Ebube, from a care working role to a data scientist with the NHS. And she sent her badge. I was super excited when she got this job. My new role is data scientist, my first proper job in the UK after 10 analytics training. Ebube got this job with the NHS as a data scientist after completing our data science program, and so many other professionals. I can't highlight every single one of them because of time. Benga is in Poland. Benga joined us. He got a job as a business data analyst, and Benga recommended his girlfriend, and his girlfriend also landed a job also in Poland as a people data scientist. Let me see if I can find Benga's girlfriend as well. So he got value. He joined, got value, got a job, and he brought his girlfriend as well to join the program, and she also got a job. But let me see if I can find her on my slide, and then I'll show you. And I'll show you somebody else who also lives in Nigeria and works for a company in the US. For those asking, can I get a remote job or not? So I don't have her on my slide anymore. I think I took it out. All right. So, but she's on my YouTube. I'll show you on my YouTube. And that's where you can get all the other testimonials for those who'd want to go back to watch as many. So there are so many professionals. You'd find them on the slide once you get the slide at the end of today's session. So how do you follow us? One thing I would leave you with today is follow us across all social media channels, from YouTube to Instagram to Facebook, LinkedIn, across all channels. So go to YouTube, okay? Go to YouTube and search for Tenalytics. Okay, go to YouTube, search for Tenalytics. Once you get to Tenalytics, click on the logo so that, and of course, make sure you subscribe. You get access to over 4 years worth of content for free. All right. So all the videos, all the sessions we've held, you can get them here. You come in here, you can watch all the video. I had a session 2 weeks ago. You can come back, watch the video right here. And there are so many videos on, how to get started as a data engineer, how to build or write your first Python codes. You'd find some of those videos here. Okay. How I got a job after my Tenalytics career. So we brought in three amazing professionals who came in here to talk about their, transition.
You apply to this amazing job.
They came to talk about their career journey and how they were able to land jobs after completing the Tenalytics program. Okay, so you'd see this amazing lady, Bukola. Aha, interesting. Bukola, like I mentioned, is Benga's girlfriend. She's in Poland. Her boyfriend came in, got a job as a business data analyst, brought his girlfriend. She got a job as a people data scientist with QVC, and they're both in Poland. So you get to listen to these amazing professionals. You get to listen to Thelma. Thelma is in Canada, also got a job as a HR data analyst as well. Okay, so this is where you get access to numerous videos. For testimonial specific videos, all you need to do is come in here. You go to the Tenalytics alumni job success stories, and you can listen to all the amazing professionals. We listen to Amaka. You listen to this amazing lady. You get to listen to Hope. You listen to Pavel. You listen to um, I'm not sure who this is. You listen to Adetayo, Abisola, Oyefikayo, and so many other Lois, Ungozi, and everybody that has come ahead of you and they've gotten amazing opportunities. I'll take my last question and then we start to. It seems analytics is mostly for blacks. Well, we've had so many other people join us, all right? But Tenalytics is set up to help people of the black community to transition. Because one of the first things I noticed in my first job, the first job working with a US based company, was there was nobody that looked like me on my team. I had Indians, I had Filipinos, there was a Mexican on the team, but there was no African, there was no Nigerian. And that was where it hits me that there are so many other people who are also trying to make this transition, but they don't know what to do. They don't know how to start. And that was how Tenalytics was born. All right. You didn't touch on remote jobs. We can't touch on everything. Okay. The gentleman I showed you earlier who lives in Ibadan, Nigeria, and works for a company in the UK, he's working remotely. All right. Um, this gentleman, his name is Victor. Victor joined our HR analytics program. He lived in Lagos and worked for this company in Chicago, Illinois, remotely. Okay, so the person asking about remote opportunities, he worked as a people operations analyst and he worked for Hugo. Hugo is based in Chicago, Illinois. He lived in Lagos, Nigeria, working for that company, and so many other professionals that you have. When you get the slide, you'd have access to all these amazing professionals. All right. So I'd love to see you get started. I'd love to see you in class. Take advantage of the discounts and get started. Okay. Let me see if I have more questions. Since I don't have a clear career path, do I need to pay to ask? The best I would advise you, Winifred, is, and we get this all the time, okay? When there is a discount and it's open to 20 people, you come to get clarity to find out that you decide that, okay, based on the clarity, I'm going for data analytics, but the discount is off. All right. So the advice is pay, join the clarity, get clarity, and you secured your discount. And if you decide not to join, you get 100% full refund. It's as simple as that. All right. So that's the advice I always give because people always come back to say, I want, I want the discounts. But if it's gone and there are no slots left, unfortunately, there is simply nothing we can do. Please check your private message. Um, do you need to have previous qualifications? No, you don't need any prerequisites to join the program. If you can open a laptop, browse the internet, you can open a file, close the file. That's all you need to get started. Every single thing you'd learn that in class. Okay. Before we wrap up, I would like to know if you've gotten value for your time today. Type, is there a certificate? Yes, you get a certificate before, once you are done with your capstone project and you submit the capstone project, you will get a certificate to show that you've completed and you have skills in that particular area. Okay. Let me see if there's any question. Meg is saying I haven't answered your question. So Meg, I must have missed it, or you want to send it again, and I'll just check it before we wrap up. So just copy and paste, and I'll check again. We don't have any student loans. What we do have now is a discount and an installment payment for 5 months. So you are spreading your payment for 5 months. It takes you $150 to get started, and you pay $150 for the next 4 months. So 5 months, $750. That's what it takes to be in our program. All you need is a mid-range laptop. You don't need anything sophisticated. You don't need a high-range laptop. 8 GB RAM, 256 SSD, Core i3, Core i5. That's fine and good to go. Okay. My question is, if one already has, one is in the UK on sponsorship and you have 2 years left, would you advise that they hold on with enrolling now? So one thing I've found with people in the UK is they wait until the last minute. I had a lady, we had to turn her back last year. She came to us around October 2024. Her visa, her post-study visa was expiring in December. And she came to us in October and wanted to get a job between October and December. All right. Which is a 50-50. We had to turn her back and say, the timeline is just too short. All right. The jobs are not automatic. You first of all have to learn the skills. You have to complete projects, work on projects. If you even get invited for an interview, you have to prepare for that interview. And on the average, for you to get a job offer, you must have applied to a minimum of 267 jobs. Okay. So we had to turn her back because she wanted us to do what would naturally take 8 months. She wanted us to do it in about 2 to 3 months. So my advice to anyone is don't wait until you need the sponsorship before you learn the skills that will get you sponsorship. Don't wait until your post-study visa is about to expire before you learn the skills that enable you get sponsorship. If you're currently in a master's program, don't wait until it's a month or 2 months before you complete your program to get the skills that would enable you get a job. Ikmat, who got a job in the UK, Ikmat was still doing her master's when she got that job. All right. She got two offers, but she couldn't take the two offers because of the limitation. So that's Ikmat right there. Absolutely amazing lady. Ikmat had two offers while she was doing her master's. If you don't listen to any testimonial, listen to Ikmat. Okay. She got two offers. She was doing her master's. Of course, if you're doing a master's, you have a limitation of 20 hours per week. She couldn't do the job. But immediately before she wrapped up, about a month before the end of her master's, she got another offer, this particular one from the NHS. And that was how she secured her sponsorship. Okay. So don't wait until it's when you need it before you get the skill. You're currently on sponsorship. Fantastic. You have 2 years more. Ride it out to complete the 2 years and you get your ILR. But what happens afterwards? If you want to change career path, the best time is learn the skills. Okay, learn the skills, work on projects, hone your skills. So at that time, when it's time to get the job, you really would not stress to get that job. Okay. If you are doing a master's in business analytics, master's in data science, is usually a waste of time. I tell people this. I did a master's in the UK as well, big data science and technology. You don't learn what it takes to do the job in a master's program. It's an academic environment. You do your coursework, you'd work on group exercises, you complete your thesis at the end of the program, and that's it. Does it equip you with the skills to do the job? It doesn't 100%. Okay, so you want to learn the skills to compete for the best jobs available. Okay. All right. So there are so many other questions. We can't take every single question on the call. For those of you interested in starting, get started, get into the program, take advantage of the discounts, and you get started. Somebody's asking about R or Python. Python any day, anytime. Usually in a university setting, they would recommend you to learn R. R is optional. R is more research based, and R is more academic than Python. When it comes to the industry, application of data science, application of Python in the industry, Python would always stand out every day, every time than R. Okay, it's more robust. It's more adopted in the industry. But if you go to the universities, you are likely going to have to deal with R at some point. All right. So if you have two options, do I learn R? Do I learn Python? Please choose Python. And if you look at job requirements, they will not tell you Python and R, or they'll tell you R and that's it. It's usually Python or R, preferably Python. Okay. So take it from somebody who's been in the industry for a long time. Your data analytics program, your data science program is where you learn Python. I listed all the different skills, all the different tools and technologies. Okay. For a class that is to commence tomorrow, when do we receive? There is no class commencing on a Sunday. All classes started on for classes that started in April, it started on the 5th of April. That's today, Saturday. All right. You receive the link and a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains your lesson plan. The welcome kit contains your link to join the classroom and log into the LMS. And then you can check your spam, Ola. Okay. Check your spam, check your junk in your email. You must have received an email. And if you still haven't received any email, all you need to do is send an email to, I'm going to display that on my screen right now. Okay. Call any of these numbers on the screen or send us an email at enquiries@analytics.io, and somebody would address that for you. All right. Okay. Some people are saying I'm not answering my question. I didn't see the question. I'm answering all the questions I can see. If I can't see your question or I didn't see your questions, apologies. There are 185 people on the call, and it's going to be impossible for me to answer every single question. Okay. If I already have theoretical knowledge and what I need is hands-on experience, we don't take people into our internship only, all right, except we can assess your theoretical knowledge. So at Dewumi, what I'll suggest is join our clarity session, okay? Join the clarity session and we'll see where you are. Because we've had people who say they have theoretical knowledge, we assess them and we realize that, oh, you know how to use Excel, but you don't know Office scripts. You know how to use Excel, but you don't know how to use Power Query. That's not understanding of the theoretical knowledge in that area. Okay, so you can't just jump into projects and jump into portfolio. You must be well grounded in the technical skills. Okay, you didn't talk much on project management. I did, and I showed you two people that got jobs in project management. Okay, Vivian says, I'm finding it difficult to pay. So Vivian, all you need to do, if you can see my screen, I have numbers, emails on the screen. Send an email to any of the numbers, or anything regarding payments, send an email to finance@tenalytics.io. Okay, finance@tenalytics.io. Just send an email to finance@tenalytics and somebody would guide you on what to do. Okay. Adeza, where have you been all these years? I'm so proud. You are great. Okay, CG, I'm sure maybe we've known over the last couple of years. All right, so please reach out and I'd like to connect. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be very happy to interact with every single one of you. So I'm going to call it a day so that we don't overshoot our time. If you have, if you've gotten value for your time today, joining this session, type in a yes into the chat. Just type in a yes into the chat. Fantastic. Brilliant. And that's why we hold sessions like this. All right. I know you'd have so many questions. Okay. So we have sessions to give clarity, number one. Number two, for those who are interested and serious in getting started, take advantage of the discounts. If you are sure what you want to do, select that. If you are not sure, all you have to do is select, I need to speak to a professional, and somebody would work with you. Okay. Somebody said Amaka got a job even before she started her internship. Yes. Amaka no disappoint. Amaka is sharp, absolutely. And that's the thing. We start advising. If you listen to Amaka carefully, she said that before she joined Analytics, she would have never thought of applying to a job like that. But we gave her the confidence. Okay. So you don't wait until you are done for the 8 months before you apply to get a job. You start applying when you have the minimum required skill. For example, you want to get a job as a data analyst. The moment you complete your problem solving, you complete your Excel, you complete your Power BI, you start applying to jobs. And that's roughly in about 2.5 to 3 months. Okay, so in about 2.5 months, you start applying to jobs. And that's why you'd see people say that, oh, I got a job 2 months, 3 months into the program. I got a job about a month or two before the program ended. And you start to see those type of feedback, especially when you listen to the testimonial. Okay, I'll take this last question and then we wrap up. I'm currently working in Qatar as a nurse. How do I get a sponsorship job in either Canada, the US, as a data analyst in healthcare? So what you want to do, ICMA, is there's so many different pathways. Okay, you have the Saskatchewan Tech Talent Pathway, you have the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program pathway as well. To come into Canada. In the US, you'd need an organization to petition for a H-1B visa for you. However, after Trump got into government, they're making so many adjustments to the H-1B visa. All right. The first thing you want to do, ICMA, is learn the skills. Okay. You are a nurse. We've had somebody who owned a poultry in Nigeria. He was a farmer, a poultry farmer. He's a data scientist in the UK today. I showed you Abigail, who was a care worker. Before she came to Canada to work as a care worker, she worked back in Nigeria as an administrative officer with the FIRS. Today, she's a business analyst with the government of Alberta, supervising two other business analysts. All right. So it doesn't matter what you've done. I studied industrial chemistry. Nobody comes to this world with the skills in science, the skills in technology, and all of that. I studied industrial chemistry. I didn't study anything related to tech. So it doesn't matter what you've done before ICMA. Get started. You learn all these things in class. I will give you a clear pathway, a walkthrough from how you learn in class, the projects you work on, you add those projects to your portfolio, you showcase experience, and you have the employability. We work on your CV, your LinkedIn, and all of that, prepare you for interviews. And more importantly, we give you a reference that enables you land the job. Okay. So thank you very much. Thanks for being a part of your Saturday. For those of you getting started on the 10th of May, I look forward to working with you. For those of you who you know somebody who is interested in getting started, share the message with them. Let them get started and make 2025 the best year yet for them. All right. So thanks very much. I'm glad you had value and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Okay. You have any questions, please feel free. Go to the website, send us a message, send us emails. My colleagues would respond to you, or call us, send us a WhatsApp, and somebody would respond to you. All right. Have a wonderful weekend and cheers.